The story begins where we see a woman named Amanda who's packing her luggage. Her husband Clay wakes up and asks her what she's doing. She tells her husband that she had decided to go on a vacation. She tells him that she has been working all the time and her husband is also worried about his job. So going on a vacation now would help them be stress-free. She has booked and rented a luxurious house outside the town for their family to go there and stay for some days. Her husband is surprised to hear this, but agrees with her. Then we see that the entire family has left for their vacation in their car. Amanda has 2 children, a boy named Archie and a girl named Rose. They are sitting in the back seat of the car. Rose is watching the sitcom Friends on her iPad and feels sad when the internet goes and it stops loading onto a screen. After reaching the house, they are very happy seeing how luxurious the house is. The kids dive into the swimming pool for swimming. Amanda tells Clay that she will go to the local grocery shop to buy some food supplies. At the grocery shop, while loading her food into the car, she sees a man loading bulk quantities of food and water in his car. After reaching home, Amanda and her family decide to go to the beach. When they're at the beach, Rose notices a ship and tells her family about it. Her father tells her it's an oil tanker. When they're relaxing at the beach, Rose again tells her family that the ship is getting closer to the beach and it's a very big ship. Amanda and Clay realize that the ship is not slowing down and they decide to run from there. They manage to run away from the ship just in time. The ship crashes into the beach and comes to a halt. We see that the police is telling everyone to vacate the beach since similar incidents have been recorded along other beaches also. The family decide to go back home. When they're at home, Amanda tells that the Wi-Fi is not working and she's not able to connect her cell phone. Clay also informs her that even the TV is not getting the signal. She sees some deers in the garden and shows them to Clay also. At night, when Amanda and Clay are playing Jenga, Amanda suddenly hears a noise. She tells Clay that someone is at the door. When they open the door, they see 2 people, a man and a girl, standing outside the door. The man introduces himself as George and the girl as his daughter Ruth. He tells Amanda that the house belongs to him. Amanda does not believe that the house belongs to them. He tells her he is the one who had been communicating with Amanda over the email for renting out the house. He tells them that he wants to talk to them and asks them to come inside the house. They decide to go talk in the kitchen since the kids are sleeping. He tells Amanda and Clay that his phone is not getting any service, and when they were in the city, there was a blackout in the city. Because of the blackout, all signals and lights went out, so they decided to come back to this house and spend the night instead of waiting in the traffic. George asked them whether they can spend the night in the house till morning. Clay agrees, but Amanda tells George this is not possible. George tells Amanda and Clay that he knows that it seems like an inconvenience for them. He tells that he should have informed them earlier and could not do so since the phones did not have any signal. Amanda tells him that they are on a vacation here and they have already paid the money. George offers to refund the money for the trouble it has caused them. Amanda tells him that she cannot leave the house this late in the night with her family. George tells him that he's not asking them to leave the house and will stay in the basement for the night. He opens one of the cabinets and we see a gun and some envelopes. He takes one envelope and gives $1,000 to them as a refund to the money they have already paid. Amanda tells George that she should discuss this in private with her husband. While discussing with Clay, she tells that she feels very scared letting 2 strangers live in the house like this. She says that she's not even sure that whether they are the owners of the house. She feels unsafe since her kids are also staying in the house with them. She feels George is telling lies and making up stories to be in the house. Clay tells her to calm down and tells her that he believes that they're the owner of the house since they also have the keys to the cabinets. He tells her that they also gave the refund money. He feels that George and her daughter are just scared and want to spend the night someplace safe. Amanda is still not convinced and tells Clay that they need to go down and ask some questions to George about this. Amanda and Clay ask George from how long he has owned the house. He tells them that he bought this house 20 years ago and few years back he did some interior decoration from a friend named Danny. Amanda asks George where his wife is. He tells her that her wife is an artist and is traveling currently. She'll be coming home in the morning flight. Amanda asks George to show his ID so that they can believe him. After searching for his ID, George informs them that he left his wallet in the city. Suddenly they hear an emergency message on the TV. It says that all radio stations and TV stations have shut down and a national emergency has been declared. Ruth feels that this is a terrorist attack. Clay tells George and Ruth that they can spend the night since it's a national emergency. When they're in the basement, Ruth feels sad that she has to live in our own house like this. She asks George that what did his client exactly tell him about this situation. He tells her to calm down and not worry too much about this. On the TV we see news that a cyberattack has happened and the TV shuts down. In the morning, Rose is trying to wake up her mother Amanda. She tells her that she's not able to watch the last season of Friends since there is no internet in the house. She also cannot watch it on TV since the TV is also not getting any signal. She asks her father to fix the TV. Amanda gets some messages on the mobile about the blackout that some hackers have done all this. Clay tells her that he will go to the nearby town and find someone who knows about what is happening. Amanda tells Rose about the people who came to stay at night. When Rose is outside near the pool, she also sees some deers. When Ruth comes into the kitchen, Amanda tells her about the blackout and hacker's message she got on the phone. Ruth feels that all of this is connected to the power plant in the city they have caused the blackout. George also comes into the kitchen and he is surprised to learn about the hackers and the blackout. He tells Amanda that he will go to the neighbors and check if they have some news about this. He tells them not to worry too much about this. He feels that the hackers are some kids doing some prank and all of this will be over soon. Ruth is worried about her mom and her flight and asks George whether she is all right. He tells her he believes she is okay. Clay goes into the town but is unable to find any GPS signal in his car. George goes to his neighbor. He checks the messages he had sent to his wife, but they are not delivered due to network issue. He has taken the gun from the cabinet with him for his safety. Clay, not able to find anyone, stops his car and looks for a signal on his phone and decides to go back home. George enters his neighbor's house and sees that no one is there. Rose tells Archie about the deers and feels like they were trying to tell them something. She decides to go look for them. In the house, George finds everything is messy and there is water everywhere. When Clay is returning back to the house, he meets a woman on the road who is asking for help. She is speaking Spanish and he is unable to understand her language. Archie and Rose find an old tool shed and go inside to look at it. George goes to his neighbor's garage and finds their satellite phone, but is unable to get a signal on that. The woman looks scared, and it seems like she is asking for his help and his phone. Clay does not trust her and decides not to help her. He leaves her on the road and goes away from there. George decides to go behind the house, look for someone to talk to. When looking for someone, he notices a watch on the ground. When he tries to lift the watch, he finds only a cut-off hand along at the watch. He feels scared and falls on the ground and finds a dead body. He gets up and sees that a plane has crashed here and all things are scattered everywhere. While returning back, Clay sees a plane is following him and dropping some red color thing in the air. He feels scared of this and starts speeding his car to escape from there. Suddenly, George hears a sound of a plane coming towards him and rushes back to the house to be safe. We then see a plane crash into the beach and come to know that the dead body we saw earlier was of a pilot of previous plane. The plane, which was behind Clay, suddenly drops some red pamphlets on his car, goes away. When Rose and Archie are returning from the jungle, something bites Archie in the foot and he feels a pain. Rose finds a house and tells Archie they should go look in it. Archie refuses her and tells her they should go back as he is feeling hungry. George returns home and Amanda asks him what happened at the neighbor's place. He tells Amanda that he works as a trader in the stock market, where he has to predict patterns and he makes money based on their movement. Based on pattern he saw at his neighbor's house, he tells Amanda that no one was there. Even the satellite phone didn't work as he believes the satellites are down. He feels that some young hackers didn't do this, but some big organization is at play here. He also tells her about the plane crash he saw at the beach. As they're talking, suddenly everyone hears a loud screeching sound and everyone closes their ears. They regroup back at home and Amanda feels that they should do something about this situation. George tells everyone to calm down, not do anything until Clay comes back. Amanda is worried that Clay might not come back. Amanda tells George that they should restock on food and water in case the blackout continues. She also tells him about the old man she saw at the grocery store who was packing food quantities in bulk as if he knew about this. George tells her that he's the same person who did the contract work for his house, and his name is Danny. Clay has returned back home, and everyone is happy to see him. They ask him what he saw when he was in town. He tells them that saw no one in town and came straight back home after hearing the noise. He tells them about the plane and shows a red piece of paper that the plane was throwing. The paper has something written in a foreign language from which Archie translates one line, which says, "Death to America." Amanda and Clay get scared and decide to leave from there in their car. George tries to stop them and says that it is not safe to go on the road, but they don't listen and drive away from there. Ruth is worried that the plane crashed at beaches of her mom and asks her father if her mom is even alive. George tells her to not think much about this. When they are about to reach the highway, Amanda sees a lot of cars in front of her. They are not moving and it seems like a traffic jam. She gets down the car to investigate the scene. On reaching near the cars, she sees that all of the cars are automatic driverless cars and brand new. We come to know all these cars are driving themselves out of the showroom and onto the road and crashing into each other since there is no space. On realizing this, Amanda quickly tells Clay to reverse the car. They navigate their car from incoming cars and manage to escape from there and go back to the home. Inside the house, they discuss that they should find a shelter or bunker for their safety. At night, Amanda apologizes to George about her earlier behavior when she met them for the first time. George says he's okay and not to think about this now. He tells her he works for some of the very powerful people in the world and handles their money. He tells her that one of his clients yesterday moved a lot of money and seemed worried, as if he knew what was going to happen in the future. Clay and Ruth are sitting near the pool where he tells her about the woman he met on the road and feels guilty for not helping her, leaving her on the road. Suddenly they see many flamingos have jumped into the swimming pool as if they are scared. George and Amanda dance in the library to ease off their tension. George is scared and tells Amanda that he thinks his wife is dead. Amanda tells him to be strong and not worry about this. Suddenly they hear the screeching sound again and all the glass in the house breaks. Later in the night, Ruth tells her father that he should not have let them come back into the home and she does not trust them in such a situation. In the morning, when Archie wakes up, he feels a pain in his mouth. He sees that some of his teeth are coming out. Amanda and Clay feel very scared on seeing this. Archie then tells everyone about the insect which had bitten him in the jungle yesterday. Amanda says that they should go to the hospital to get Archie checked, but George reminds them of the closed highway. He tells her that he will go and visit his contractor Danny, who might have stored some medicines and antibiotics. Suddenly Clay comes into the house and tells everyone that he cannot find Rose. Archie tells Clay she might have gone back to the tool shed. George, Archie, and Claire decide to go to the contractor's house while Amanda and Ruth start searching for Rose near the tool shed. Amanda and Ruth arrive at the tool shed and are unable to find Rose. She tells Ruth that they should search more properly. Ruth asks Amanda that why she always talks so rudely and behaves so badly with them. She also says that Amanda does not care for her or her mother, whether she is still alive or not. Amanda realizes her mistake, apologizes to her, and suddenly they hear some noise outside the cabin. George and Clay arrive at the contractor's house. He tells them to wait outside. He asks them why they have come, and George tells him that they have come to get some medicine for Clay's son, who is sick and losing his teeth. They also ask him whether he knows about this blackout and the condition Archie is in. Danny tells them that he saw something similar in Cuba a few years back where they used these sounds to attack and people lost their teeth there also. Danny refuses to help them and tells them to get off his property. He tells that he cannot help them in this situation. Amanda comes out of shed to check about the noise. She sees bike trail of Rose's bike and decides to follow it. Danny says he needs to take care of his own family right now. Clay offers some money to Danny to help the son. Danny refuses the money and tells them to get help from their other neighbor's throne. He also tells them that these other neighbors have built an illegal bunker which could save Clay and his family if they reach there in time. Ruth is surrounded by many deers and she feels scared. Amanda comes back to help her and she starts screaming at the deers and the deers run from there. George is surprised by Danny's behavior, takes out his gun to force him to help him. Danny also takes out his gun and aims at George to fire at him. Clay tells everyone to calm down and requests Danny to help him since his son is sick and his daughter is also missing. Danny finally agrees to help them in exchange for money and gives them some medicine. Clay also tells him about the red paper he found. Danny says that his friend in another city also found similar paper but written in a different foreign language. He believes that many countries have united against USA and are trying to attack it. Ruth and Amanda continue their search for Rose. She believes that the animals are trying to warn them for something. Amanda sees the same house Rose had seen before. Ruth stops to look at something. When they're about to leave from Danny's place, George asks Clay whether he is with him, and they have to go to the bunker to be safe. He tells him that he had some suspicion before of such a situation. He had a client from defense sector who had warned him of such an attack. He tells Clay that the people attacking their country are doing so in 3 stages. In the first stage, they cut off the communication of the country by disabling all signals. In the second stage, they do attacks like the sound attack and dropping misinformation like the red paper. In the third stage, a civil war happens where everyone inside the country starts turning on each other and starts fighting amongst themselves. This way, enemies win the war without ever firing a weapon and destabilize the economy of their enemy. Clay feels scared on learning about this. Amanda comes back to Ruth and they can see the city where explosions are taking place and there is complete chaos everywhere. We see a house in which Rose is there, and she's eating food. Suddenly, she hears her mom's voice and goes towards the door. As she is about to leave, she sees a light and decides to investigate it. She finds the bunker and switches on the lights. The computer inside the bunker receives a message which says that the White House and many other areas have been attacked by armed forces. Radiation levels have increased in many cities and everybody is advised to take shelter. She sees that the bunker has adequate water and food supplies to last for months. She is about to leave, but suddenly she sees that the bunker also has many movies DVD CDs in it. She sees the Friends DVD and decides to play it to complete her final season. The movie ends here.